What's going on, everybody? It's GameUnboxingReviews here, and welcome back to another LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 video. So, in today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Basically, I've been getting a lot of comments from people asking, what can you do with the character creator in this game? And I always, reply with a comment and let them all know what you can do, but there's sometimes things that I actually miss. So I thought what would be cool is if we take all the information that we previously knew, plus some of the new information that I haven't covered yet, and just put it all in one video and basically tell you everything you can do with the character creator that we know of so far. And this is definitely something that you guys need to know, because the character creator is amazing in this game. They've really gone all out on this time around, which is fantastic, and I can honestly see myself spending hours just making new characters, trying out different powers and all sorts. It's gonna be a blast. Anyway guys, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so first up, let's talk about character lore. So, apparently, you can actually add a little bit of lore and more crazy stuff to your custom characters. Now, no more has been said on this ever since, but if I'm right in thinking this, I think we might actually be able to write about our custom characters. And if you remember from one of my previous videos, I mentioned that the character roster, it isn't full of circles anymore, they're actually character cards. And you can even flip them over and then learn about that character's origin, when they first appeared in comic books, and loads of cool stuff. So imagine if the player can now make a character, choose the powers and weapons, name that character, and actually give them a bit of a backstory. That would be really, really cool, because it would make that character feel more real to the player, and also make them feel more part of the Marvel universe. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I am so excited about this feature alone, because I can already tell that people are going to spend hours just, writing about their characters, making that character perfect, maybe changing them ever so often. It's going to be a really, really exciting part of the game, and I just can't wait to finally see what it actually looks like in game. Moving on, we now need to talk about pieces. So the character creator has been built from the ground up, which basically means the previous version has been scrapped and this is a whole new version of it. And don't worry, it features all the usual stuff you'd expect, like hats and hoods, but this time around they've also added shoulder pads like Agent Venom's, folded down hoods, capes, and even jetpacks. And one of the things that I love most about the pieces they're adding is they're actually adding a bunch of attachments that aren't even taken from playable characters. So you could add, for example, a sombrero, a top hat, a bow tie, or even a huge beard to your character if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you, and I love that they're adding unique pieces like that, because it's going to allow the player to make that character, that custom character, as unique as possible. Continuing on with pieces, we also need to talk about color swaps, because this time around you can actually change the color of pretty much anything in the character creator, such as 19 different helmets, blank torsos, each separate arm and leg, so you can make one arm blue and the other yellow if you wanted to. You can change the color of your weapons now, and even your webbing. The only thing you really can't change the color of are two colored pieces, and pieces that feature decals or textures of any kind. However, there are also some exceptions, because for example you can take Gwenpool's mask and change the white colour to red if you wanted to. Next up, we need to talk about weapons. Now, the only weapons we know of so far that are going to be in the character creator are a pistol and Mjolnir, of course Thor's hammer. But don't worry, there will obviously be a lot more to choose from than that, because this is just a list of weapons that we know of so far. However, another thing that we do now know is that you can actually dual wield weapons, so you could have two pistols if you wanted to, or you can even go crazier and have two of Thor's hammers. You could change the colour of one to be pink and the other to be yellow if you wanted. Like I said, it's entirely up to you what you would do with your character. Whether you want to make them look extremely cool or extremely silly, it's up to you. And I love that. And I love how you can change the colour of each one separately. That is very, very cool. And last but most certainly not least, the final thing we need to talk about is, of course, powers. So the first powers we're going to be talking about are traversal powers, which are basically the powers you use when you're getting around the map of Chronopolis. The first one we know about is double jump. Now, I don't believe this is a power. I think it's just to allow the character to be able to jump twice, maybe like Daredevil, so maybe you can make like an athletic vigilante or something. You can also choose flight to allow your character to, of course, fly. Web swinging, I guess, gives you, Spider-Man's powers. We've also got hyper jump. Now, this is probably the most interesting one, because you can combine hyper jump with other powers. So let's say, for example, you choose hyper jump and combine it with flight. You can actually allow your character to boost off into the sky. Or what I think is much cooler, if you actually combine hyper jump with web swinging, you can actually make a web slingshot and throw yourself into the air like Spider-Man. Very, very cool. There's also super speed. In case you speedster fans want to make your own super speed character, you can totally do that, and you don't have to change their appearance or have Quicksilver's hair like usual if he's in the game. So that's really, really great. And another power which hasn't been confirmed, but Stephen Sharples did tease, is teleportation. Very interested to see if they're actually going to add that to the custom characters, because that would be pretty cool. Lastly, of course, we need to talk about attack powers. So, like I said before, powers and Lego pieces are now completely separate. So you can make your character and not be forced to attach a specific piece to that character just to have those powers. So, for example, you don't have to wear Spider-Man's mask just to have his powers. You can make your character look however you want and still have Spidey's powers, which is really cool because this basically means you can make your own Spider-Man, which is awesome, and I'm definitely going to make a ton of different versions of Spider-Man, especially ones that don't just have Spider-Man powers, you know, mixing and matching his powers with other characters' powers. That's going to be so much fun. And it gets even better than that. You could give your character electricity abilities or repulsor blasts or anything like that, or you could go more detailed and assign the powers and abilities to separate buttons. So let's say when I press square, I'm going to shoot a fire beam, but when I press circle, I'm going to have the powers of telekinesis. And you can even go further with the customization. So going back to the actual beam, you can choose where that comes from. So you could choose to shoot it from your left hand, your right hand, both hands, or your character's eyes. You can even customize the beam and change what it actually does. So you could make a character that shoots an ice beam, but despite the beam having an ice appearance, it would actually have the abilities of a heat beam. It's insane how much attention to detail you can go into with the powers alone in this character creator, and Stephen Sharples has confirmed that yes, you can basically make your character seriously overpowered, and I just can't wait to see what people come up with because this is going to be such a great feature in this game. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Now, one more thing that I need to mention is, when asked if we'll be able to use DLC character parts in the character creator, Arthur Parsons replied by saying, anything is possible. Now, please bear in mind that is not a confirmation, but it does at least give me hope, because it'd be so cool if with every DLC pack, not only do they add new characters, vehicles, and a level, but also, what would be really cool is if they added new pieces, new weapons, new powers, all that kind of stuff, because it would just allow them to make the character creator better and better with each DLC pack. That would be really cool. Again, not a confirmation, but let's hope they do that, because that would be awesome. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're as excited as I am about the character creator, because I cannot wait to use this, and I'm probably most excited about seeing what you guys come up with, because there are tons of possibilities. The things you can make with this game are insane. I just can't wait to see what everyone comes up with. Anyway guys, I want to thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for lots more videos real soon, and as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.